Alright, good morning everyone, it's Gaming Riber here back again with stories from Soul the Gun Dog. Last time we managed to get out of our prison, our own room, and we got to be angry with to the captain. And now I think we are trying to look for some other ways to solve this mutiny issue. The sound of machinery, complete silence, dull rumble. Let's try the complete silence because we won't be getting anyone to see us, right? It won't be Vanessa, right? Maybe. Hansen and Haru is in the corridor. So if it is silent, there won't be anyone there. Let's just hope for the best. Slowly crawl through the cramped passage, away from the light being cast downward from the shaft containing the large fan. It doesn't take long for you to find yourself in complete darkness once again. As you work your way onwards, your hands stretch out in front of you, allowing you to tell where the direction of the crawlway changes. You eventually find yourself in what feels like a dead end. You run your hand to the right and left of the tunnel's terminus, but from what you can tell, there's no alternate route to take. Maybe you had missed a turning earlier? As you started the awkward process of orienting yourself to head back where you had come from, you reach up, feeling for the top of the crawlway to ensure that you don't bang your head. Instead of the smooth paneling you had expected to place your hand you place your hand on. What's this? I don't know. Alright, let's see what this does. Crossing your fingers that you're not about to open a hatch into space, you grip the lever and push it. With surprising ease, the lever moves, and with it, you feel a mechanism slide from one position to another. The panel above you shifts slightly, revealing a thin crack of light. Okay, now where are we? Oh, it's the airlock. Pushing open the hatch above you and standing up, you look around to see that you have emerged into the airlock. Clamber out of the tunnel, lowering the hatch behind you, but not closing it entirely. The airlock, huh? You muse. Not exactly the most useful place to be, but it's better than being locked up. Let's look around. Just standard emergency survival unit. Can we interact with that? It's not even worth.
There are no CCTV here.
I don't think so. This is the depiction of the future by the people in the 70s or 80s, I guess.
So there are no CCTV.
Maybe no. I don't know if we'll pick it up. Might be Vanessa if I'm really unlucky. Can make way over the I shouldn't need to use anymore. You ever really hope so. Yeah, I figured. Can we move around? Yay! Wow!
Wow, we could move. Wow!
Tread lightly, doing your best to keep your steps as silent as possible as you approach the central hub. Stop as soon as you reach the threshold between the airlock and the hub, and holding your breath, listen out for any sign that Hansen and Haru might be nearby. Sure enough, you can hear the two bantering loudly from the direction of the Forsyth thoroughfare as they stand watch over the true crew quarters. Okay, but seriously, Lord hasn't got it done bad for you. Yeah, I'm not stupid, trust me though. Someone like her, no thanks. No way, Cruz, it's a promotion right there, one and done. If you did, I bet you could get her to say anything you wanted when we get the ship back to Europa. No thanks, she's not even my type. Oh yeah, who is then? As if. The captain? Shut up, Romney. Commander Quinn. Shut up, Romney. The bender stops there and silence follows. Can tell by their voice they both stood in the Forsyth thoroughfare, which gives them a clear line of sight straight through the central hub and towards the aft thoroughfare. You left where you were stood now to head further into the ship. There was a good chance that you'd be spotted. Slowly you begin to make your way back towards the airlock. Looking back over your shoulder, you see that the panel covering the ladder leading to the bridge has come loose again, dropping from its mounts onto the floor. Hey, what's that? Man, I don't know. Sounded like something in the hub. Stay here. I'll check it out. Swear under your breath as you try to move silently as possible back toward the airlock as quickly as you can. Once there, you pull open the hatch leading into the crawlway and drop down inside, quickly pulling it shut on top of you. At least you attempt to. You try to pull the hatch all the way, of course, catching on something just before it shuts. Each time you try and force it, the mechanism makes a scrapping noise, which you realize is loud enough to be heard from the hub. Hey, someone there! It's instantly apparent to you that the crawlway runs under the route from the central hub to the airlock as you hear Hansen's footfall echoing through the crawlway, growing continuously closer. With one final heave, you yank the hatch with all your strength and manage to pull it shut, swinging the lever into its original position as you do so. You sit still in the darkness, holding your breath. Piece of junk ship falling apart. You wait until Hansen's steps has completely faded away until exhaling in relief. You remain in the darkness for a few minutes, waiting until all sounds of activity from the central hub disappear and you tentatively re-emerge into the airlock. You should probably stay away from the central hub for the time being. Then what to do?
Boy, we open.
Then what to do? Let's
I
go
don't
to
know.
central hub again. Let's try. No, we can't do that. Okay then. Where else? Dull rumble. Confident that you know where this path would take. We will resume your journey through the ship's crawlway, steadily heading away from the light and towards more darkness. Within a mere 2 turns, you're once again enveloped in the blackness of the ship's inner workings, and you carefully shuffle forward, making sure not to let any sudden obstacles or shifts in direction catch you off guard. First, the constant vibration were only noticeable when you made a special effort to feel for them in the walls. Let's just skip this. Twisting you onto your back so that you can better manipulate the grating without creating any noise. You've only just begin to push it upwards when it slams back down into place with a loud clang.
Huh?
Before you can get out of there, you see the soles of a pair of boots step over you, clanking against the steel grill of flooring above.
Ooh, fancy meeting you here, Lieutenant Uchiha.
With a terrifyingly effortless ease, the chief squats down and pulls up the grating with one hand. With the other, she grabs you by the collar and yanks you out of the crawlway, roughly depositing you on the floor before replacing the grating.
Oh, sorry, it's loading. You got permission from the captain to be out and about?
Chief,
My internet. Hold that though, Lieutenant. Come here.
Taking hold of your upper arm with a grip far more powerful than you could have suspected, the chief begins to drag you away. You struggle to try to free yourself, but a combination of her raw strength and you being constantly off balance makes escape impossible. Chief, hey, give me a second to explain. Chief, come on! Stopping only to swipe her keycard through a terminal next to a door, the chief continues to drag you behind her as she marches on into the newly unlocked area. Only once she's put some distance between her and the entrance does she stop, throwing you in front of her as she does.
Alright, Lieutenant. We can talk now.
Chief, damn it, I was trying to explain.
Why do you think I brought you here, Lieutenant? The entrance to this department's wide open. Didn't want anyone catching sight of you somewhere you shouldn't be. Especially not in the gets me mixed up in this whole cluster. Impressed you even managed to find your way into the crawlways. To be honest, don't know how you got in there though, except from the quarters wood.
As the chief's attention is pulled away from you to the hypothetical of your escape, you assume that given she has not raised the alarm, she isn't going to be dragging you back to your quarters or handing you over to the ensigns. Oh, someone hid this in my meal. I used it to.
Screwdriver. Ah, So that's what does Deez wanted it for. He told me he needed it to replace the batteries on his cassette players. I told him bring it to me and I could install some extra long life military issue ones.
Okay.
Never seen that guy so insistent about anything the entire time. I've known him though, so just handed it over in the end. Though thought it was strange. No way would he pass up the change to extend his player's lifespan. Should have known that he was planning something. Probably has no idea how screwed he is if he gets found out.
Chief, listen. Stop yapping.
Take it easy, Lieutenant. I'm not gonna throw you in front of the new captain or her goons. Honestly, I admire the guts you've got making it this far. Have you got a brain to go with them though? What's your plan? Going to try and raid the armory? Check a ship back by force? Or try to sabotage it by yourself sometime? Because you listen to me, Lieutenant. I swear to God, if you screw with anything in here, I don't care if it's to deal with Lord, I'll...
Chief. I'm not going to mess with anything, I promise.
Good to know. I've got a job here, and that's to keep this ship running, no matter who's at the helm. And if you get between me and the smooth operation of this vessel, Lord Punishment won't be half as creative as mine.
Well,
So, Lieutenant, what's your plan? Bartholomeus and Queen are locked up. Lord's taking control of the ship, and crew's not got enough skin in the game to push back. Let's hear it.
I have no plan. The way I figure, everyone's only going along with this Lord because they've got more to lose than to gain if they stick up for the captain. Their accusations, they kind of stack up if you don't look too closely. Both Captain Bartholomeus and Commander Quinn were out of action when the Gundam went offline, and Quinn is the immediate suspect in the doctor's murder. But I know there's no way Quinn could have done it. There's no way she would have done any of it. And if the captain wasn't around, I don't think that was on purpose, not with how I saw her. If we can disprove those accusations with the evidence we can show the rest of the crew, it will be them getting charged as traitors due to this mutiny. Once we do that, they'll side with us over Vanessa easily. Even the ensign have more sense than to stick with her.
Well, you might have a point there. As it is, Lord taking command could be seen by the GCF as a reasonable course of action, given what her actions are based on. But how do you plan on proving her wrong, Lieutenant? You're going to need some good evidence to undermine her arguments.
Well, you had thought about the broad strokes of the plan through, but you hadn't really had the time to consider the specifics. You've been too focused on navigating your way through the ship and finding out where you could access. I was hoping that I'll be able to get some help with that one, Chief, from you.
Nice try, Lieutenant, but that's not happening. Sorry to burst your bubble there, but there's no chance I'm gonna get wrapped up in Lord's games. If you want help, you're gonna need someone else. Right now, I've got to make sure these engines keep ticking over. If I'm lucky, I can find the chance to get the long-range communication system back up and running before we get to Europa Colony.
Chief, wait. Without giving you a chance to even try and convince her, otherwise the chief has already turned her back on you and is striding out of the door she dragged you through earlier. Chief! You chase after her, following her through the doorway and grabbing her by the unyielding muscle of her upper arm. Chief, wait, just hear me out. In an instant, the chief grabs your wrist, pulling your hand off her and angling your forearm away from you in a way that almost sends you to your feet.
I told you, Lieutenant, I've got one job. Making sure the ship keeps sailing. I've got nothing against you, nothing against what you're trying to do, but keep me out of it. These engines are still touch and go right now, so if we want to make it back to Europa, they're gonna need my full attention. I don't have the time to get dragged into stupid little personal grudges or power plays.
The chief releases your wrist, which you draw back quickly, the pain from awkward angle it had been held at shooting up through your forearm.
I like Lord as much as you do. I'd love to see her get taken down a peg or two. Hell, I'd love to take her down myself. I just...
With that, the chief turns on her heels and strides away towards the engine room. You chase after her, calling out to her to give you another chance to explain, but your pleas have no effect. You're being completely ignored. Eventually, she arrives at the entrance to one of the engine rooms, and before you can stop her, steps through and close it behind her, leaving you stuck on the opposite side. Damn it, Chief. I need your help. There's got to be something I can do to get her to listen to me. If I could talk to her one more time, I'm sure she would come around. Let's look around. Bunch of battery packs line up on the charge right now. Seems like it's running normally. The machine.
Central computer?
Once inside, the door closes behind you and you're left bathed in noxious glow of the monitor slide. You tentatively lay your hand on the keyboard and think, right now I'm here, I have no idea what I'm doing here. Okay, well at least I know I can get in if I need to, I guess. Yes, hey Chief, I needed your help, so I started screwing the delicate machinery. That sounds like it will work. Will it? No.
I don't know.
Move to engines. Although it's almost redundant to give how noisy all the nearby machinery is, not to mention the constant background hum of the engines, you approach the door quietly. Still smug at how Vanessa had handed you the means to get around your imprisonment, you swipe the card through the terminal next to the door and step into the engine room. Despite the vast size of this area, it doesn't take you long to spot the chief, who stood over a large control panel. Alright, let's try again. Look around first. No, not move. No. Use. Okay. Nothing else? Okay.
Chief!
You've been surprised at how quickly the chief had dismissed you when you had asked for help. Although you had assumed she might take a little bit of convincing, you weren't ready for her to completely reject your request like that. As you approach her, you take a few deep breaths, slowing your breathing as you feel your apprehension grow. You knew by how forceful her rejection had been that this would be easy, but at the same time you also knew that you needed to at least try to convince her to help you. Without the chief's assistance, carrying out your plan would be much more difficult. Hearing the control panel that she stood at, you let out one final long exhalation and draw yourself up to your full height. Your attempt at appearing confident more in order to convince yourself than the chief. Okay, she's yapping again.
Spatial distribution of the neutral flux source regenerates with environment. You know, that should mean your releases.
Chief, please, I really need to hear you to hear me out.
Human energy releases.
For a moment, you consider reaching out to turn her towards you, but you know better than to try to assert yourself physically with the chief. Say you bring yourself closer than you're comfortable with and raise your voice. Chief, I know what you said, but please, I need your help.
Lieutenant, I told you that I need to keep an eye on these engines. How did you even get in here? Crews that take your keycard? Not to give you points for tenacity. I don't think there's any ducks or crawlways leading you here since...
Chief, that doesn't matter right now. I know you don't want to get mixed up in this, but I need your help. I know what I need to do, but I can't do it alone. I need you, Chief. The chief lets out a loud sigh that clearly communicates her exasperation at your persistence. You clench your teeth and take a deep breath before continuing. If you push your luck too far, you know that at the very least, you'll probably get physically thrown out of the room and the lock will be manually operated. But at the same time, you're aware of this isn't something you can simply give up on out of fear of upsetting someone.
You're damn right I don't want to get involved, Lieutenant. I've got a ship to get back to Europa, and it doesn't matter who's on the bridge when it gets there. Just that it gets there. Now, whatever's happening to these engines during that blackout is making that job easy. For the last time, Uchiha, get out of my way and do what you've got to do, but leave me out of it. Or do I need to get you out of the way myself?
With a single step, the chief is right in front of you, looming over you, her bulk filling your field of vision. Instinctively go to take a step back, but stop just before you do, mustering all your confidence to stand your ground against the chief's imposing physicality. Squaring your shoulders and widening your stance, you do your best to assert yourself. Chief, I want to get the gun dog back to Europa just as much as you do. But you know, it's not about the ship, it's about the people on board. What good is getting us all back to Europa if half the crew is going to be put on trial for something that they didn't do? What's the point in making sure the engines are working if the ship could be ripped apart by some enemy machine, all because our pilots are playing security guard and there's no one to stop it? You don't look after this ship for its own sake. You look after this ship because of the crew. Chief, you know that. For a moment, you feel a flutter of relief with your chest, but you focus, not wanting to get too far ahead of yourself. Looks like the chief is coming around to you, but you've not convinced her yet. I know that you've got important work to do right here, but if we don't deal with Vanessa now, we can guarantee that there'll even be a gun dog to get back to Europa. So we all know your work is so good that these engines won't go offline if you leave them for a few hours. You would have made sure of that. If I had better option, I wouldn't be asking you, Chief, but I need you, please.
You're telling me you're doing this for everyone on this ship, Lieutenant, not just you and Quinn?
That's right, Chief. Obviously, Commander Quinn's important to me, but I'm the ship's security officer. It's my job to make sure everyone stays safe. I can't let them down like this. I can't. The Chief inhales through closed teeth and furrows her brow.
Everything's stable right now. No sign of unusual output. Why do this now, Lieutenant? If you think Quinn and the captain can be proved innocent, why don't you just wait till we get back to Europa? Bring it up at the tribunal.
Chief raises a good point. Your intent was to prove Cassie, the captain, and yourself innocent. By rights, the tribunal that would investigate this mutiny would be perfect place for that. But you knew it wouldn't be so simple. Get what you're saying, Chief, but Vanessa would have thought of that already. She wouldn't have done this if she didn't think she would get away with it. It would be like that time on the bridge earlier. You know that her story won't line up with what happened, and I bet you that she'll have adjusted the reports to support her case. That's why I need to find this new evidence now. Even if I can convince the rest of the crew to get Bartholomew back in the captaincy, that at least I'll have something I can use at the tribunal. The longer we wait, the more chance that evidence gets adjusted or deleted. Seeing the chief taking her time to consider your points, you know you're on to something. Even if she doesn't, do you think they'll listen to someone who has been set up as a traitor? If Vanessa's story even seems like it holds water, they'll probably just write me off. But we don't need to let it get that far. I'm sure we can show the rest of the crew that Vanessa's story will fall apart as soon as we get to Europa. They'll refuse to serve under her. Even Hansen and Haru won't stand up for her if they know it will be their next on the line. With everyone on site, we'll stand a chance if that thing reactivates. Otherwise, we might never make it back.
You make some good points, Lieutenant.
The elation you feel at the response almost make you giddy. A feeling you temper with pragmatism. Can't be sure you've convinced the chief yet.
But are you sure you want to be doing this?
What? Of course I need to.
To do what? You're locked up now, but no one's gonna blame security for standing up for their captain, especially after everything you've done. You certain you want to be sticking your neck out like this?
I wouldn't be here if I wasn't the chief.
Might feel that way now, Uchiha. Wait, my internet. But step away for a second. Give it some thought. Sometimes when you're trying to fix something, the real solution isn't obvious till it makes some time to think it over. Might be other options, you know. I want you to make sure you're serious about this, Lieutenant.
You're serious, you know that. Part of you wants to tell the chief that here and now. But at the same time, you know that you don't want to risk pushing her too far. You've almost won her over, and if you look like you haven't thought this through, you might undo all that you've done to convince her. You breathe out and let your shoulders drop, letting some of the tension that you built up leave your body. Yeah, okay, Chief. I'll make sure this is what I want to do. Thanks for hearing me out.
No sweat, Lieutenant. Seems like your heart's in the right place. Just need to make sure your head is too.
Without hesitation, the chief turns back to the central panel that she had been working at and resumes whatever it is that she had been doing before you had interrupted her. Maybe there were other options, but couldn't any of them be as good as getting the chief to help you out? You would have to give that some thought. Okay, there's one more crawlway we can go to. Can we go to the aft thoroughfare? It's a long way from the foreside, but if they're paying attention, Hansen and Haru could still spot me if I headed that way. Okay, we can't. Let's go to the crawlways then. It's the last one. I'm gonna savor this again. Oops. I really do hope we don't meet Dalton, because I don't think I can read Dalton's line as much. Moving away from the illuminated nexus between the various crawlway, you follow another twisting path of identical, indistinguishable tunnels, and it doesn't take long for you to find yourself in total darkness once again. Unlike your journey from your quarters to the lit segment, you had just taken a break and you were confident of where you were heading as the previous. Okay. The erratic noises of different pieces of machinery and equipment punctuated your journey with a regular rhythm. Like the constant background noise of the engineering department, this was the sound of someone hard at work. As you continue to move through the twisting shaft, you notice a strange sense of lightness to your movements, which you initially dismissed as numbness from the time spent hunched over and crawling. Is this D's? Fire control? It isn't until you push against the floor with one leg and inadvertently send yourself oh my god. I just said it. This is Dalton. This is the hangar. Soon enough, you manage to adapt to this method of movement, propelling yourself by pushing off the tunnel wall or pulling yourself. Yeah, it's totally the hangar. Yeah. No, I don't want to read Dalton's line. As you had expected, the noises had guided you to the hangar, which you take your time to carefully survey, looking out for Hansen, Haru, or any other member of the crew that you didn't want to run into. Aside from Dalton, who was hard at work on Hansen's Juno and completely unaware of your presence, you don't see anyone. Alright, let's go.
Dalton?
At least this doesn't look like it's going anywhere. Dalton's made a lot of progress. Okay, let's use it. Worth taking a look after I run it too, but right now I don't know what it would usually be.
Where is Dalton?
Inside Hansen's Juno?
Hansen's Juno?
Inside this thing, probably. Perform another quick scan of the hangar to ensure that it's still just you and the cadet who are around before kicking off a nearby wall towards Dalton. You can tell he is completely absorbed in his work, and it isn't until you lay your hand on his shoulder that he has any idea there's someone in the hangar with him.
Oh my god.
Chief, I was just finishing off the final recoupling of the new bell nozzles of the direction. I don't want to read Dalton's line. You know what, guys? This is for today's video. It's been almost 30 minutes. We will read Dalton's line when my voice get better.
Yeah.
See you guys later.
Bye bye. Bye bye, Dalton. Ooh, you're so sus.